Now let's talk about specifically mapping an ERM with all its components, with entity types, with relationship types, with attributes, and with the cardinalities. Let's look at the mapping from the ERM to the tables. There are different rules, and we have a specific look at the rules, and we have a specific look at how to map the different components from the ERM into our relational database model with the tables, with the tuples, and so on. The first important thing we have to talk about is that we need to assure integrity in our database schema, in our relation of the tables. Integrity means that we have to use a foreign key in a proper way if we want to refer to other tuples. So we have a set of attributes in a relation, and we have other relations or one other relations with other attributes. In this other relation, we have a primary key, and with this primary key, we refer to this other tuple, specific tuple. And if we have a look at the foreign key as one important thing in our integrity, then the foreign key can be null. It's allowed to have null as a foreign key. Sometimes it can be forced to have not null, but it might be null in general. So let's have a look in our example here in the bottom of the slide. We see that we have the entity relationship model, which consists of the entity type doctor with the attribute doctor number and doctor family name. So just basic attributes describing the doctor. It's not important that the doctor also has a first name or an address or whatever. We have just these two attributes, and important is in this case that we have this primary key doctor number, and as mentioned before in the entity relationship modeling approach, we should have an ID for each entity type. So doctor number is our primary key for our doctor. And then on the other side we have the department. The doctor works in a department. There is a department number as a primary key for the department, and the department name describing somehow the department, the purpose of the department, the things done in the department. And of course the doctors somehow are related to departments, to one department. So the doctor probably is assigned to one department where he fulfills certain tasks. And therewith we have this relationship type here in the middle between the doctor and the department. And in this case we don't have cardinalities, we just look at the integrity in this case. And we would map these two entity types, doctor and department, to these two tables. First, the doctor table with the attribute doctor number, doctor family name. We talk about the department number later. And the department table with the department number and the department name. So we have the different doctors like Dr. Anger, Dr. Bauer, Dr. Caesar, Dr. Dorer. And we have different departments like orthopedics, surgery, pediatrics. And then we have a kind of connection between the doctor and the department. And in this case, it's a 1-to-n relation. A doctor might be a member of one department, but in one department, there of course might be many doctors. So 1-to-n relation. And for mapping this case, we need a foreign key department number in the doctor table. In the doctor table, we add the department number, and we have different department numbers referring to different departments for each doctor. So the Dr. Anger is working in department 12, and the description of the department 12 is contained in the table department. So Dr. Anger works in orthopedics. Also Dr. Bauer works in orthopedics. And Dr. Caesar works in another department in the pediatrics. So each doctor is assigned to a department, and a department can have many doctors assigned. And in this case here, you see that it might be that the department number is not filled out. Then that means that the foreign key is null and the doctor is not assigned to a certain department. And regarding the null value, you have to think about in your model, if you want to allow that the doctor is not assigned to a department, might be the case if it's a trainee doctor, for example, then it might be, the doctor might be working in different departments or so, and then you might not require the value for department number to be present. You would allow that the traineeship doctor, so to say, does not have a department number assigned. And then the doctor is not assigned to a specific department. And that's then the case when the foreign key is null for the traineeship doctor. And integrity also means that if you refer to a department number, for example 12, it has to be existent in the department table. So 12 is here a tuple, or refers to the tuple for orthopedics, and this is present in the department table. It would not be allowed to choose 13, for example, here as a department number in the doctor table. 13 is not allowed because you do not have a department 13 in your table. You just have 23, 24 and 12, and therewith it's allowed to have only 12, 24 and 23 as values in your foreign key column. So that means integrity, that you cannot choose other values than the values which you have given by the primary key department number here in this table. Now in detail to the rules for mapping different components of the entity relationship model onto our relational database model. First, we have the entity set. The entity set or entity type, and we map this entity set to a table, to a relation. So that means if we have, for example, this doctor entity set here, doctor with doctor number, doctor family name and zip code, 3 attributes. One of the attributes is the primary key. Then we map it to a relation. The relation here, this table, is composed of the different attributes, and you name the relation like the entity set. So that's it, basically mapping the entity set to the table. And you can also refer to the table, to the relation in a text style, like you can see here. You have the doctor table, that means you have a doctor table, and in this doctor table you have the doctor number as the primary key, you underline it, you have the doctor family name as an attribute, and you have the zip code as an attribute. And there is, you can save, so to say, the graphical notation, you just can write it down in the textual notation. Now that we know how an entity set is to map onto a relational database model, we just transfer it to a table. We also have to take care about the mapping of the relationship into our relational database model. So we might have entity sets on both sides. Mapping entity sets is easy. And now the relationship type comes in. The relationship like here the R, which somehow connects entity set 1 with entity set 2. And that's now the point where integrity comes into play. Integrity because we need to use the primary key of one relation in a foreign key of another relation. So we connect the different entity sets by using the primary key of the other in the foreign key of the first one. And sometimes an aggregation is allowed, an aggregation for the relations, and we will have a detailed look onto the rules for the mapping for different relations. And we know for the relation that there might be different cardinalities, 1 to 1, 1 to n, m to n, and there might also be the possibility that you have attributes in a relationship. And we also look onto how to map the attributes in a relationship into our relational database model.